Aliens, you've said that if we've only been putting our radio signals for 50 or 100 years, that's not enough time for anybody even to travel here anyway. So let's just finally finish this session on aliens.
Okay.
Talk to me about that, and talk to me about what do you make of these videos that we've seen with these objects traveling and breaking all laws of physics? Is it just a bunch of weirdos and kookies and people that just
Look, there's
don't
lots
realize?
of weird things you can see, and you can jump to conclusions about them.
Did you watch them?
I've seen some of them, and some of them sure not to be frauds. There's no doubt there's a fraction of things that are frauds. There are fractions of things where you misperceive. I just did magic for you beforehand. You know it's not magic.
True.
Okay, I'm tricking you.
Yeah.
Human perception is we want to believe, like Fox Mulder. We all want to believe. And so there are lots of things we see that we don't understand. And but as I say, for so many reasons, not just that aliens wouldn't have had enough time to come here, but to come here in a spacecraft powered by internal processes require more energy than the power output of a star. Why would they come all the way here just to do weird sexual experiments on psychiatric patients of some Harvard psychiatrist? Feynman famously said, aliens are more likely due to the known irrationality of humans than the unknown rationality of aliens, or UFOs. And so when you think about the possibilities, it's hard for people to realize this. In physics, we think of more likely and less likely. And if you think about the likelihoods, almost any explanation of those things, from swamp gas to weird reflections of lights in the sky to balloons to anything, as contrived as it may seem, like the magic bullet and John Kennedy, okay? As contrived as it may seem, it's more likely than the likelihood of aliens coming from some distant star system to here to hide out or crash or do weird acrobatics in the sky.
Do you think there's any devices out there that would allow propulsion like that? Or, I mean, you're a physicist.
Well, no, yeah, I am. And the thing is, there's a lot we don't understand. That's what my book is all about. But by the same token, it doesn't imply that we don't understand anything. Okay? And what we know is that the physics that we don't know is not going to change the physics we know. And it'll change our perspective of the universe. But we're here in England now, and famously, if I take a coin and drop it now, it's going to be described by Newton's laws. Newton was right when it comes to the motion of pennies or cannonballs. And whatever we learn about quantum gravity, it's not going to mean if I take a penny, it's going to fall up. And so there can be lots of things we don't understand about propulsion, but it's never going to violate the things we know to be true by experiment. And when you make a right angle turn going a gazillion miles an hour, the G-forces are going to destroy the ship or destroy the people in it, unless you invent inertial dampers and impact on gravity. But then you can show to do that you need more mass than there is in the galaxy. And so you can ask these questions about what's required. And so things that violate the known laws of physics are suspicious. Let me say that.
Fair enough. Are you surprised these conversations are happening in our Capitol building?
I'm not. I'm old enough not to be surprised by. Well, I'm still surprised by humans. I didn't think we'd be talking. I didn't think we'd be talking about God, frankly. And when I was a kid in the 1960s, I didn't think in 2024 or 2023 we'd be talking about God. I am not surprised that we're talking about this. I'm surprised that people take it seriously in a way. The biggest. It's like I used to say, the biggest surprise about Star Trek was not all the technology, is that they assumed everyone in the 24th century or whatever was literate in science. That surprised me more. And similarly, the biggest surprise to me about aliens is that people think there's this vast government conspiracy that somehow could be kept secret for 70 years when a single person could become a gazillionaire if they just presented real evidence. With that option of making so much money by being a whistleblower, can you really imagine it's likely that this vast conspiracy has kept things secret when nothing is kept secret ultimately? I mean, to me, that's more implausible than the alien thing.
Yeah, you make a good point. What's life, Lawrence?
That's a good question. And interestingly, I begin that chapter about what's life thinking about even asking that question. When you start to ask that question, you realize maybe I don't understand things. Because you can say, what's life? Well, maybe life is something that has metabolism that's self-replicating and reasonably viably self-replicating. And I say, okay, well then, is fire life? Okay, right? Fire, metabolism, it burns things. It replicates. Okay, that's a big problem. And it's kind of reliably self-replicating, because if you have hardwood burning and, it depends upon the type of forest it's burning. Okay, so clearly that kind of definition of life is not good enough. And you may say, well, you require a more complex definition of life. And you can create those things, and not just not just metabolism, but a self-regulating metabolism, which fire doesn't have, right? I mean, and homeostasis is probably the key to life. The fact that systems have evolved to be able to regulate their metabolism so that they can self-replicate reliably. And then the real question and the unknown is not how do we get the diversity of life. I was just at Darwin's house yesterday, and I'm still amazed at Darwin and what he did. But the big open question is, how does life originate? How did you go from chemistry to biology? And the answer is, we don't know. But it is an area, I think, of all the open questions in my book that I talk about, the origin of life is perhaps one that will be really reliably addressed in perhaps the next decade. Partly by maybe looking for life elsewhere, looking for other geneses of life. But there's also an amazing amount of work that's going on to demonstrate life seems so unexpected and miraculous because it seems to violate the laws of physics, right? Entropy. Things get more disordered, but in life is involved things getting more ordered. Well, it doesn't violate the laws of physics in spite of what some crackpots who write me regularly say. Because the second law of thermodynamics says a closed system will always, in some sense, either become the same, remain the same, or become more disordered. But life is most importantly not a closed system. We require energy from the sun or donuts or whatever in order to continue to function. But how can you build a complex, even at its basic form, a cell is incredibly complex. It's one of the reasons people will talk about intelligent design, because they don't see how seemingly random, so they're not random, but seemingly random systems can produce such a complicated system. But there's been a lot of work in the last 20 or 30 years to understand so we think a precursor to a DNA world is an RNA world. But RNA is still incredibly complex. How could you get there? Well, recently there's been work showing that natural processes can produce the bases, the nucleotide bases of RNA, and amino acids are found in comets, and so there's a lot of what is really interesting and maybe not surprising in retrospect is that in exotic environments, processes that we think should drive us, chemistry that would drive us one way normally takes complex things and breaks them down, can naturally take simple things and build complex things without any external shenanigans, any supernatural shenanigans. And what's been discovered is in the extremal environments, either maybe associated with deep oceans or even in comets, that processes can happen that could naturally take organic materials and build up complex things like the basis of RNA. And that's been recent developments in the last 10 or 20 years. And so I've had this debate with my friend Richard Dawkins, in fact, will we know the origin of life? And the answer is, he argues, maybe not, but what we will do is maybe have a path that seems so likely that we say, oh yeah, that's probably how it happened. But I think one of the quotes in my book related to consciousness it was from Schrödinger, the physicist who developed quantum mechanics. He said, consciousness is a singular of which we don't know of any plural. Okay, but the same is true for life. Life is a singular of which we know a plural if we consider life to be all life on Earth. What may teach us about life is to discover life elsewhere. Because if we discover, for example, life in the oceans of Europa, which has been separated from us, but we discover it uses ATP as power, it has the same DNA base pairs, it may tell us that there's one unique chemistry that produces life. A lot of people think maybe that's not the case. Again, ambivalent. I kind of think maybe it is driven to the same thing. We'll find out. So we may find out more about life on Earth, by finding out about the existence of life elsewhere in the universe.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim, watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?